Do you actually get clients from social media, as in from a post? Does somebody land on your post and become a client? Because if you think that posting on social media is a way to get clients, I'm going to be so bold as to say right now, it isn't. Do you?
This is the Born to be Brilliant podcast, helping you harness the habits and unlock the tools to bring you more meaning, vibrance, and the personal power to help you shine like the diamond you are.
Welcome to this solo episode. Today we are unpacking the topic of what it really takes to be a successful entrepreneur in this modern world today. So many of you listening are people who have built amazingly successful businesses over the years, or you're starting out and you want to learn all about how to do that, or for whatever reason you're curious about this, but it's not the same this year, next year, last year, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. It's always changing in terms of what it takes to create success in business. And yet there are some fundamentals that never change, that are always the same, and that we often forget. So I thought we would unpack this and explore this a little bit, because I think that it doesn't really matter where you are in business, whether you've grown something to multiple 7 figures and beyond, or whether you are really just getting out of the starting blocks. There are things to be reminded of, things to learn anew, and things you may have just skipped over in the past that really need to be brought back home. So let's just look at the fact that what do we see now that we never saw before? Tons and tons of content, right? There is noise, there is media coming at us everywhere. You can't drive anywhere without seeing things up and around you. You're listening to things constantly. We carry around devices that are putting consumption in constantly. It's almost from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep. And that has never been so true as it is today, and is only going to become more of a truth, right? We are only going to have more access to more consumption, more of the hours of our waking and sleeping, a bit more of the hours of our lives. And so things look different than they used to. Things are very different to how maybe you would have built a business 20, 30 years ago, just for a tangible time frame. And now we know this, we know we consume a lot, but what does that mean for building a business? Well, it means two things. It means on the one hand, we're consuming that stuff. So the consuming part of it is the messages that we're taking in. So the beliefs that we're forming because of it. And the other part of it is the output. So what that tells us that we should be doing, or we think that we're doing. So with that in mind, what we're consuming and these beliefs that we're forming can be skewed. And no one's immune to this, by the way. It doesn't matter where you are. No one's immune to this, even if you are one of the world's top, most successful business people. Because we see things we see content and we think, oh, I need to be doing that. We see things that we think, oh, that's what it takes to create success or to generate revenue or to make a business work. And then we think we need to copy it, but we're not on that same path as somebody else. We're also not on the same chapter as that person. Okay, I've seen young entrepreneurs. They may be, they're in their early 20s and they're doing millions and they make it look easy. One thing that youngsters do have is some serious courage that I think is new, that we didn't have some generations back culturally, but they will have in some cases struck an amazing time, really lucky. So I've seen somebody doing a lot of money in Bitcoin. I think they just did something on a whim at the right time and it paid off for them. I mean, not everyone can just replicate that. I've seen people get into various network marketing models at just the right time and do millions. And then they try to sell replicating that to other people, but it's never going to be the same for those other people. And that's one that I'm sure lots of people are familiar with. You see this happen doesn't mean it can happen for you. I've also seen those very things be ripped out from underneath those people when the company who owned the company decided to pull the rug, and they built something on somebody else's model and it wasn't theirs. So they couldn't take it with them and they have to start again. But you know what? I trust that people like that, if they know how to do something once, you know how to do it again in a different way. It does mean, though, that you may have to go right the way back to basics, roll up your sleeves and go again. So I think there's a picture painted on social media and various other mediums that it's super easy. I heard a conversation just a couple of weeks ago where somebody had found a job for somebody straight out of sixth form college, so 18 or something like that, very young. And this person didn't want to look at this job because it didn't pay more than 40,000 a year. They had no experience, no qualifications, nothing. It was a starting point. And I think it was about 25 roughly thousand a year or something. It was a really good starting point for somebody who had no credentials really to go by. And they're like, no, not enough. There's this entitlement, this expectation that you can walk in at somebody else's like page 150. You got to start at page 1. And the same happens in business when either you've seen somebody else's success, so you're like, okay, I want what they've got. I get what they do. I've been in their world. I've seen behind the scenes. I can do that. And it's like, yeah, you probably can, but you haven't yet built the audience. You haven't yet built the platform. Once you have, then you can do that. But you need to do it differently on page 1. What you do at page 1 is different to what you do at page 150. You have to be more specific in the early stages. You can become broader in the latter stages, in the more established stages, rather. And the problem with that is when people try to get in at page 150 or, chapter 20 or whatever down the road, they then get stuck. They then don't do so well. And then they think it doesn't work or they've failed or whatever it may be. But it's not that. It's just that they try to come in. They try to do the thing that they should be doing later at the start. And so we end up trying to create something from a place that we're trying to run before we can walk. And why do we do that? Because everything these days is so quick, now, instant. We have instant gratification and instant access to everything, from the television to things that get delivered to us, to food, to everything, even relationships. You can go online and start one now. You don't have to even go out and meet real people, which is a real shame. But everything's instant. And so people expect, well, I can instantly create a business that earns me 7 figures a year. No, actually, you can't. Very, very few people even can. In fact, show me somebody that can, that has, where it hasn't been without some very rare component that's slightly luck or timing based and isn't replicable. And the people who have done really, really well, that then teach other people how to do really, really well, there's also limitations to that, because unless that is rooted and grounded in actual practical and theory and real solid aspects and foundations of business that apply to everyone, if it isn't grounded in that, then it's only going to get you so far, because you cannot walk somebody else's path. You cannot just follow somebody else's formula. There's always nuances that were true for them that won't be true for you. The size of their audience, the particular audience, the particular thing they led with. I've been in rooms, and I've been in groups, and I've been in scenarios with people where I've seen it sort of on the inside and been like, I love what this is, but I didn't know what that was when I came in. And it's really kind of like you move through this like a journey, and a lot of people probably wouldn't even think to unpick it. But what I experienced and kind of came out the other side with wasn't what I bought, right? Just let me say that again. The experience I had and what I came out the other side with isn't the thing that I actually bought. If I had been sold that thing that I came out with, I probably wouldn't have really properly understood it. I probably wouldn't have properly got it. I wouldn't have, it wasn't been tangible enough for me to go, yeah, I'm in. So I came in with different, like, yes, this is what I want, but I got out what I actually really needed. And a good marketer, a good business person knows that regardless of how much they know that what they do and what they have to offer is amazing, they sell the thing the person knows or the person can understand that they would like or need or desire. And then they give them what they really, really need. Yeah. And if you're like me, and quite often I think, if your thing feels a little untangible, you've got to find the tangible, because especially at the beginning, because you've got to be super, super clear, especially when you're building an audience. And that's the other thing. So I often see business owners go, right, okay, I'm going to post this content, and they'll do what I call box ticking exercises. They could go through a business class or a marketing class that told them to do these things. And like, I did everything the class told me to do. I went to this workshop and I did all the things I was told. I've got my little checklist here. See, check, 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 check. I've done all the things. It's not working. And then they might go, it's not working. What am I getting wrong? And that's great, because then they're self-reflecting and going, where am I missing something here? What is it that I maybe can't see? Which I really respect that. Other times, sadly, people go, it doesn't work. That masterclass was rubbish. No, don't do that. It doesn't work. And I'm like, and that's, really a shame that anyone would think that way, because everything works, and you'll find plenty of people that will give you another story and tell you how amazingly it works. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just the way you're doing it right now doesn't work. And that's simple as that. And I say the same for myself. Whenever I feel like something feels difficult or I'm stuck on it, I'm like, well, lots of other people can do this and they can do it really well. So the fact that I'm struggling with this right now must mean that I'm missing something, or I'm making it too hard for myself. And there's got to be another way. There's got to be another way. So when we look at all these things that we see out there in the world and on social media and so on, we see the chapter 20, we see the page 150, we see the end result. There's so many posts that go around about Amazon, and you see like what Amazon is today and what Amazon started as, and it's literally a room, not even as delightful as the one I'm sat in, and it's just a basic room, and it says Amazon on the wall and it's a guy at a desk. It's like, that's how things start. Blood, sweat, and tears, grit, determination, resilience, resourcefulness, 100% ownership, and go again and again. And you get slapped down and you go again, and you pick yourself back up, and you tweak and you refine and you keep going. And then 10 years, 15 years, maybe 20 years later, that overnight success happens. But people in the masses don't see all of that. We see the end results. You see a movie, a finely polished, wonderful movie, and think, wow, that was brilliant. You didn't see the months, if not years in some cases, of work that went into creating it, not to mention the years and years and years of training that each individual person who put that together went through, from the graphic designers to the music composers to the editors who, the CGI AI people that have learned how to do that, computer programming, to the actors, to the stylists, to the every single wardrobe people, agents, all the people. It's massive. But you don't sit down in a cinema and think about or appreciate all those things and the years, combined years that went into that. You just see the movie at the end, and it was great, and you really enjoyed it. So don't try and create your business from a place of the movie that you watch on the screen. You need to go back to the acting school, learning computer graphics and CGI or whatever it might be. You need to think at that depth in order to create the outcome that you want to create. What does that mean then in practical terms for a business? Perfect example of this is it's a bit of an unwillingness to do the hard work. And we say we are, but are we? Like when you think, no, I am. Are you? Because if you think that posting on social media is a way to get clients, I'm going to be so bold as to say right now, it isn't. And people might go, well, what? Yeah, it is. I get loads of clients from social media. Do you? Do you actually get clients from social media, as in from a post? Does somebody land on your post and become a client? And that's it? I doubt it. I bet there are other aspects to that. Social media and posts typically will be a part of their journey. They consume your posts when they've already made their decision pretty much and they're just checking you out, or they see it first, they find it inspiring, it sparks some interest, and then they go and follow up with you and they look at your website, or they attend something you host. It's a component, it's a cog. But if you're telling me that somebody, you can put a post out and somebody will land on that post and then they will click something and then they will spend, in excess of a few thousand with you, I doubt that. And if that is the case, I bet it hasn't always been, and I bet that was not how you started. So with that in mind, why is it that so many business owners go, I'll post some stuff on social media. Oh, now I'll post this stuff. And no, everyone's doing this now. And here's the latest trend. And oh my God, I can't keep up with it all. And then all of a sudden you just become somebody who's a course junkie for learning how to get better at social media all the time. And that's, by the way, an endless task because it's always changing and evolving. And you're still sat there going, I haven't got any clients though. I haven't got any work. I haven't got any customers. I don't have any business. Because you're not thinking bigger, and because you're seeing these amazing influencers and you're seeing some of these great successful people who appear to be doing that, and you think, well, that's what they're doing. I promise you it's not all they're doing. It's a piece of what they're doing, and also it's not all they started with or how they started. There's always been more to it. So you've got to go out and do the hard work with no shortcuts, and you've got to keep going. No after no after no, after being ignored, after being blanked, after being told to go away, you have to keep going. That is how you cut through. And there aren't shortcuts. Yes, there are amazing things with technology. There are automations and there are systems that you can leverage. And leverage is great. I'm a big fan of time leverage. I'm a big fan. But that doesn't replace the general hard work. How can you set up it? Or first of all, would it take you more time to create an automated system to do something for you? I'm going to learn how to do this automated system that's going to send out this many messages for me every day. And then that goes on your to-do list and it's still there in 2 weeks. Or I'm just going to send out 10 messages today, manually, done. Great. Okay. I'll do that tomorrow as well. Oh, and then I've got an extra hour and I'll just, I'll start learning a little bit about how to do this automation thing. Do you see what I mean? If you put the shortcut ahead of the actual work, you can do both. But if you put that ahead, you never get any of it done and you just sat there. So just pick up the phone or go on to those platforms and reach out directly and send that message and another and another and another and another. And keep going until somebody responds, because they will. Not everybody will ignore you. And if they're not responding to you, on one platform, try another one, or, know who your audience are, know who you're talking to. Nobody but you, when you start your business, is responsible for those results but you. Now, a lot of you know this, so that's a bit of a tip for my startups. But those of you that are like, this is so basic, I know this stuff, I wish my clients knew this stuff, or maybe you're thinking, but what about for you, the person who did all of that, that's going, yes, what Lucy said, and you did that, and now it does come easier because now you do have the audience and you are surrounded by all those people. First of all, have you lost touch with what it took to get going? Because it's easy to do. And then all of a sudden you are surrounded by high performers, hugely successful people. The conversation is different. The challenges are different. And you almost forget and you're using language that actually your ideal market aren't using because you're talking at a whole different level. So do you need to kind of stop a moment and go rewind and remember what got you where you are? Because we go through different economies and different stages and phases, and what worked once might stop working. And then you go, wait a second, that's what got me to 1 million. And now I'm going backwards. Why? And it's like, because something shifted and you didn't. And you may have to go back to basics, and you may have to swallow that pill and actually, do hard things again. And that can happen. It also happens when people pivot. So you might be pivoting into something or evolving into another level. So you might have to go back to basics and do the things that you did that got your previous version of you where it got you. And you may have to do it if you're, I'm recording this in end of 2025, and the economy and the way business works has massively changed through the years of the pandemic of 2020. So anyone that started a business then, if you're somebody that was your beginning, you don't really know what the world of business was before it, then you're going to be learning all over again right now and wondering, what am I doing wrong and what's happened? Because it's changed, especially online, but not exclusively online, but especially online. So I was online and offline pre-pandemic, and have had businesses that are solidly physical world businesses and solidly online businesses pre and post-pandemic. So I can see all the sides to this for like the last couple of decades. And anyone who started in the pandemic, you went in at a false economy. That online, and that false economy is shifting now. It's really starting to settle back to what it used to be, but a new version of that. So it won't just go back, it will be a new version, a modern version that's drenched with tech and AI and all these other nuances as well. But if you had soaring rapid growth in the last 5 or 6 years and you're now going, things are different, yes, you're right, they are. And what got you there may not get you to the next level. So you have to go back and look at the basics. What are those basics then? Let's go through these, because we have to be prepared to do all of the stuff. So let's look at the basics. The basics are having, as I said before, when you start out, you need this, but if you're thinking further ahead and looking back, you need to almost check yourself. Your messaging isn't about one thing. If your thing isn't one thing and you're trying to talk at, highly experienced level to entry level customers, you're going to lose them. Save this talk for when they're further through and the journey with you. What's the first conversation? What's the starting block conversation? And what's that one thing? Because you need to have one thing. It needs to be tangible. Is it tangible and measurable? So often we get caught up in the things that are so untangible and amazing and 100% relevant and part of what we do, but they're later. They're not at the front end. And who is it for? Like the specific demographic of who it's for, because it could be for everyone. And when you have a gigantic audience and you're hugely well established, and you can broaden who you talk to. But at the beginning, you have to get specific about who you're talking to, because if you try to talk to everyone, you'll talk to no one. And when somebody comes at you with a great idea and says, oh, have you thought about talking to this person? Or have you thought about, positioning your services to this? Or, oh, have you thought about going into this? And you just suddenly go, oh, you start thinking, I could. The lost soul will be easily swayed like a paper bag flailing in the wind, because they're lost. If you're lost and you're confused, you're going to be easily skewed. So clarity is king here. If you are certain and short and clear, then when somebody offers a lovely suggestion, you might go, that's a good one. I'm going to note that down to think about in Q3. Or you go, yeah, that's an amazing idea for someone else, but that doesn't fit my vision. But you can't know if it fits your vision or not if you haven't got one. And if you're just bumbling along from one person's suggestion to another person's suggestion, you're not on par to go anywhere. You're going to just flail about, right? And it's just nothingy. Trust me, I know, I've been there. But when you're super clear and you know what you want, where you're going and what that looks like, those lovely suggestions come in. Now and again, there are little gems and you go, all right, I will give that one some thought. But quite often you'll go, that's amazing. I really appreciate that. It doesn't fit in my quarterly plan. It's not in the plan this month, this year, this quarter, whatever. You either take it on board or you dismiss it, but you definitely don't let it take you off track. Otherwise you'd be changing tact constantly. So be prepared to do the work. My number one message for you right now is, if you're starting out or if you're navigating the new waters of the current economy and the way the world is moving and the way business is moving, you may need to do things a little bit differently. So if this is you and you need to look at what do I need to do today? Are the old things or the things that I've been doing aren't working anymore? The things that got me to where I am now aren't working for me right now. Things were slowed down. The last launch didn't go as well. Or, as I say, you're getting out the starting blocks and you're just you're not getting loads of inquiries from all the social media you're posting. No shit. I want you to back up and go, what works? Who am I talking to? Where am I going to go and talk to them? And I want you to actually go out there and start those conversations and make those connections, because relationships are everything, absolutely everything when it comes to business. Who do you need to talk to? And go and start those conversations one by one by one. If you know not what else you could possibly do that whilst you're figuring other things out, learning other things and upskilling in any other area, or making other big decisions. But keep putting one foot in front of the other and do the actual work. And that is the key. So to my accidental millionaires out there who got there without any real clue about the basics, because some of you did amazing things with no real solid business training or knowledge or any real clue of the basics. I know millionaires that had no systems, no processes, no KPIs, didn't even know what a P&L was, and yet made millions, then get stuck and have to go back to basics sometimes. I also know others who do know those things and have put those things in place, but tides have changed, seasons have changed, and this is my loving reminder of the solid stuff that always has worked, the timeless ingredients of business that have been there for the more than 2.5 decades that I've been in business and are still there today. So I hope this has given you that spark of inspiration and that little memory. And I want to see everyone just have the most amazing next year of completely flourishing and thriving as the brilliant person behind that business that you really are.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, and remember, go out there and shine your light bright, because you were born to be brilliant.